Everyone, today I'm going to put all the Mermail and I guess their sister archetype Atlanteans on a tier list. They were both released around the same time, so it's only fitting that you use them both because they were pretty much always played together. You wouldn't play like pure Atlanteans in the same way you wouldn't play pure Mermails. There's actually quite a few cards to get through, so let's start. First we have the Link Monster Mermail Slatia. You need 2 fish, sea serpent, or aqua monsters make it. The monsters that it points to gain 500 attack and defense. And during your opponent's turn, you can send 1 card from your hand to graveyard, add a Mermail from your deck to your hand. And if it's destroyed or sent to graveyard by a card effect, you can send 1 water monster from your deck to graveyard, then target 1 water monster in graveyard, special summon defense position. So this card was legacy support made for the Mermail deck. It's actually not very good. It doesn't really help Mermails do what they want to do in this current format, or like they've always wanted to do, which was close out games very quickly. If anything, it just provides less damage than Miss Starboy, and you don't really want to get rid of 2 water monster summon. It's not the worst card, but it's definitely not very good in the grand scheme of things. There are much better cards out there if you want to make Link monsters. Like Starboy's at one of them. Starboy puts out a lot more damage if you want to make a Water Link too, and especially now that the adjusted Master Rule, you're not forced to open up Link zones to summon extra deck monsters. It's even less relevant. So Absolution is like a C tier card. I mean, you'd probably still see play in Mermail or some iterations of Mermail, but it's not very good beyond that. Bailion's a D tier card. So you discard 4 Mermail monsters to special summon it. And when you do, you target opponent's cards up to the number of Mermail monsters in your graveyard. It gains 500 attack for each, and then you destroy those targets if any. And you contribute a Mermail monster to make it automatically destroy any defense position monster attack. So you need 5 cards in hand to be able to summon it. That's just never happening. It's not even the best target. If you summon it off like Sphere, Elite is just stronger, so you never want to play it. Then you have Abascale of the Cetus. It gives your Mermail 800 attack and defense, and then negates trap effect. It never saw play. At least I don't think it saw play. Maybe it did see some form of play. Like, it's not the worst. It's not like unplayable. It just didn't really see play. Next you have Abasdane. Abasdane saw like some experimentation. So when it's added from the deck or graveyard to the hand by card effect, you can special summon it, and then you must control a Mermail to be able to do that. And when it's special summoned by the effect of a Mermail monster, you can target a level 3 or lower Mermail monster in your graveyard and special summon it, and you can only use 1 effect per turn. So the first effect you can just trigger it if you add it off Pike or Turge, or any other, or like Tierce or something. You can just special summon it as a free body. And second effect, it's if it was special summoned by like a Lind or something, then you can special summon a Mermail from your graveyard. It's not the worst. It gives you like an extra body or 2. Well, like it always gives you an extra body, so it's not the worst card. Gaios was a pretty good card. Gaios was like an A tier card on like early Mermails when you would make it with Megalo, and with Megalos. It's 2800 attack. It can detach during other players' turn to negate the effect of all monsters who have less attack than it, and while it's on the field, level 5 monsters can't attack. In the early days of Mermails, or like in the early days of XYZ monsters, that was just a really powerful effect. It was really difficult to get over because it could negate the effect of weaker monsters. Gun's an A tier card as well, bordering S tier, but it's not as good as the S tier cards. So if it's discarded to the graveyard, you can target a Mermail monster in the graveyard and special summon it, and you can only use the effect of Gun once per turn. So it was very strong with like any way you can discard like Tierce, Megalo, you trigger it. Like Megalo could discard Gund and another Mermail, and then you'd be able to immediately special summon the other Mermail. It's just very good. Abysshilda's like Dean. It saw some experimentation. If sent to graveyard, you special summon a Mermail monster from your hand, except this is Hild, so yeah, except Abysshild, and use the effect once per turn. Yeah, just saw some form of experimentation. Wasn't very good, it turns out. Next we have Abascale of the Kraken. It's like Cetus, but for monster effects. It has some value, but it's like not played compared to like Mizuchi. Next we have Abyss Lead. Abyss Lead, C tier card. Abyss Lead also saw some experimentation in like the early days of Mermail. To summon it like by its own effect, you have to discard 3 other water monsters, and then when it's special summon, you can add an Abyss spell or trap from the graveyard to your hand. That doesn't come up very often unless it's like mid-late game. And contribute 1 other attack position Mermail monster to send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to graveyard. Sometimes you had like excess monsters and that would come in handy. You just take a card out of their hand. It's 2700 attack, so very powerful if you summon it off like Sphere or Lind. Let's give Lind, which is a very strong A tier card. So it's the giant rat of the archetype. When it's destroyed and sent to graveyard, special summon a Mermail from your deck. So you can special summon like a lead for power. You can Megaload to like attack twice. There's a lot of cards you can summon. It was paired with Abyssphere, which would special summon it during the end phase and it wouldn't be destroyed, or if your opponent used a blind MST, you could just flip the sphere, summon Lin would get destroyed, and then you get to special summon a monster from your graveyard. So that was good. Next you have Abysslung. Its effect is your opponent can't target water monsters for attack except for this one, and all water monsters gain 300 attack. Just not sure why you'd ever play that. You have Abyss Mando, which did also see some play. So Mermails have a lot of very weak cards which were experimented with. So Abyss Mando, you can banish it from your graveyard to either increase the level of all Mermails by 1 or 2. It saw some experimentation to make like higher rank plays. It's not much else to say. Abyss Megalo was an S tier card. In its prime, it got weaker progressively. It was always like strong, but it was never as good as it was when in its prime. So you discard 2 water monsters to summon it, and then you can add an Abyss spell or trap from your deckhand, usually Sphere or Squall. And then you can tribute 1 face-up water monster, or like send 1 face-up water monster. Yeah, you can tribute 1 attack position water monster, and it can make a second attack during each battle phase that turn. It's very powerful. It closes out games very quickly because it's on. That's 4800 damage. Not very hard to make up the other 32. Especially not with Mizuchi. Mizuchi's a B tier card because you could search it off. You could search it off the Megalo. It would negate it. It can negate a spell. It doesn't activate. It just does it, just so it sends itself to graveyard to do it. It gave it 800 attack, and it would be now 6400 damage with its effect. It was very powerful. So it has like 2 effects. It helped it close off games very quickly. And yeah, so Mizuchi itself is either a low A tier or high B tier card. It was like a flex pick. It was pretty good though. Yeah, let's leave it in the A tier for now. Narae, so you can discard it, target 1 water monster you control, destroy 1 other water monster in your hand or field, and if you do, the targeted monster gains attack equal to the one that you destroyed. If it's sent from the field to grave, you can draw a card and then discard 1 card. I don't think this card ever saw play. I mean, I can see merit in playing it. If there was an E tier, I would definitely put it in D over E. But otherwise, I don't think it has any feasible effect. Abyss knows when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to graveyard, you can discard 1 water monster to special summon 1 Mermail from your deck and face up defense position. It's 1500 attacks, never attacking over anything anytime soon. And it just needs too many things going for it to work. Abyss Osea was a solid A tier. Like, TS Osea was a combo you'd so what it does is you target 1 Mermail monster you control and special summon level 4 lower Mermail monster from your deck whose combined level equal to the one that you just sent to the graveyard. So you pair it with, so TS would search this, and then you would summon it. You would separate it into a 3 and a 4, and then you summon Aqua Spirit, and that was the Bahamut Shark Mech-equipped Engineers, and then Bahamut Shark summons Abyss Trite, and then that was a pretty strong play that Mermails can make just off the 2 cards. So Osea was very good. Might have missed something else with it, but that was its main use. It was very flexible. Pike is a solid A tier card, maybe even an S tier. So on summon, you can discard a water monster and you add a level 3 water monster from your deck to your hand. So you can add like Gun, Lin, Osea, you can add Genix Undyne, you can add any of these. It's mostly just adding Undyne or one of these or Atlanteans. Next you have Abysphere as a solid A tier card. It's like Megalo got progressively worse when the deck build was moving away from using trap cards. So Abysphere, let me look. Oh, it's full effect. So you special summon a Mermail from your deck. Its effects are negated, so you generally summon this, or you summon lead if you just wanted to push for damage. You can't activate any spell cards while it's on the field, which usually isn't a problem. Because you either just don't have any spells to activate anyway. And when this card leaves the field, destroy that monster, which means if your opponent like Blind Amistita, you could just summon the Lin. The sphere would be destroyed and the Lin would be destroyed as well, and then you get the effect off Lin. Yeah, it was a very powerful card. There's not much else to say about that. We have Squall. Squall is a good B tier card. You can search it off Megalo as well. So Squall targets 3 Mermails in your graveyard with different names, I believe. And then you special summon them all in defense position. Yeah, target 3 Mermail monsters in the graveyard, special summon them in the defense position. Their effects are negated. They cannot declare attack, destroy them during the end phase. So it's like Traveler of the Burning Abyss, where you just summon 3 monsters. They can't attack or use their effects, but it's fine because you're just gonna use them to overlay for some Xyz plays. Some 2 7s and a 4, or like any combination. It's very flexible, very powerful card in a grinding match. Next you have TS. TS is the other S tier card. All your combos start with TS, like TS Dragoons, TS Aqua Spirit. They were all based on TS. So you discard one other water monster, summon it. The only downside is that it's an Aqua and not a Sea Serpent. If it was Sea Serpent, it'd be absolutely busted. But you special summon it by discarding one water monster, and then when it's summoned, you can add a level 4 Lol Mermail from your deck to your hand. So because you special summon it, you can still normal summon a Pike, or you can add Osea and normal summon Osea, and just do the combo we're talking about before. And yeah. Next we have Abystrite. Abystrite was so during either player's turn, when your opponent targets exactly one Mermail you control for attack, or with a spell and trap, you can detach one XYZ, and now it targets this card. Or when this card is destroyed and sent to your graveyard, target one Mermail monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So it's the second effect I usually use. The first effect you don't, because you generally don't summon it using 3 level 3 monsters. You generally summon off Barmet Shark that you made using 2 rank 4s. Tried itself was a pretty good card because you always ended on it with the TS Aqua Spirit combo. It was 2800 defense, so it was actually pretty difficult to get around, and when they did get around it, you summon like a Momo monster from your graveyard. Next is Turge. So Turge is like an A tier card, but it's like the lower end of the A tier cards, or even a B tier card. It's like a low A, high B card where when it's summoned, it's the opposite of Pike. So you discard a water monster, and then you target level 3 or lower water monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So you can add like this and special summon it. It's pretty like okay. I'm not sure why there's like another lace here, but yeah, that should be here. There's a Abyss. So now with the Atlanteans, we have an Atlantean Pike attack squad where it's a level 3, 1400 attack, gains 800 attack while you control a face-up fish, sea serpent, aqua type monster on the field. I never saw play, but you can summon off Diva and has a 2200 attack. It's pretty neat, I guess. You have Call of the Atlanteans, which target 3 level 3 or lower sea serpent type monster in your graveyard. Special summon all 3 of them. You cannot special summon any other monsters during the turn you activate this card. I don't think this card saw play. Like if it was D or E tier, this would be D and not E, because you could like use it during your opponent's end phase, special summon 3 sea serpents, and then on your turn you just go nuts with them. Heavy Inventory was an A tier card. So during your main phase, you normal summon a sea serpent in addition to your normal summon. So that came up sometimes where you'd have to summon this and summon Diva, and then you can make a 7 or a 6, or you can make like a Gachi or something, or whatever. It came up. but most of the time you're using its effect to destroy a face-up card when it's sent to graveyard to activate a Mermail effect. Marksman was a higher A tier card because it destroyed set cards, which were the more problematic cards. Mermail wanted to snipe off one by one. Also, when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon level 4 or lower Atlantean Sea Serpent monster from your deck. That came up sometimes, not all the time, but yeah, it was a bonus effect. Atlantean Pikeman, it's pretty cool vanilla. I think it's the pre-evolved version of. It's got the same stats as this attack squad, but it's level 2. Next you have legendary Atlantean Trident, so you contribute this card and one Sea Serpent monster, special summon one Poseidon the Atlantean Dragon from your hand or deck, then all your monsters your opponent controls lose range attack. It's definitely an E tier card. Neptubis the Atlantean Prince S tier card, so you contribute you can send one Atlantean monster from your deck to your graveyard, and you can add, that's cost by the way, and then you add an Atlantean card from your deck to your hand. So you can send Dragoons, add Dragoons, and then the first Dragoons will trigger adding Megalo. And you'll have like a Megalo and a Dragoons already in your hand. That's insane. And if this card is sent to graveyard to activate a water monster effect, you can target one Atlantean in your graveyard and special summon it, except itself. You can only use each effect on turn. So now you can special summon that Megalo and then tribute the Neptubis to get back something. This card's just bonkers. You can summon it off Divas. And it's just the whole sending as a costing, which is ridiculous. You're always getting the Dragoons in. So this card's absurd. Next we have... that was this one. And this was this one. So Poseidon the Atlantean Dragon, you contribute 3 level 3 or lower water monsters and special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. And when you do, you return all spell and trap cards on the field to the hand, and if you do... And 3 or more cards returned by this effect, your opponent loses 300 attack for each. Also an E tier card. Like all of these are basically just... So with the exception of this card, this card, everything else here is like E tier. Dragoons I'd put it as an S tier as well. Dragoons is it's insane. So all level 3 or lower Sea Serpent monsters you control can attack directly. That probably didn't come up very often. It's powerful effect. It's got 1800 attack, but it's mainly because when it sends a graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you add a Sea Serpent from your deck to your hand. So if you discard it off Pike or Tias or Megalo, you can add. If you send it off Dragoon, Neptubis, you can add. If you detach it off Dweller or 101, you can add as well. These are like really crazy interactions, and this monster's just really silly in general. Yeah. So I'm not sure why we have 2 of these, but let me know what you think about this archetype. I think this is one of those archetypes where everyone loves. Like you can never hate this deck no matter how well it does. Like it could win like 3 events straight and no one would hate it. It's one of those cool decks. It's been around for a long time. It survived a lot. It got Prince in 2016 and became relevant again. It also got the Frog and Totally Awesome in 2017, and it kind of piqued some interest again. Now it's not really seeing much play, but yeah, it's just a pretty fun deck. It was really fun. Let me know what you guys think, where you would put these cards, and so thank you for watching, and let me know what archetype you want me to do next.